Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have something a little bit different and something that I'm very excited about and something that I've been wanting to do for so long, and that is share Chilean Spanish resources with y'all. A lot of people think that Chilean Spanish is extremely hard, but genuinely it's not that bad.
Mi amor, acabo de tomar para la 11. Si queréis vamos a comprar al súper.
See, not that bad at all.
That's lame.
But no, seriously, I really genuinely love Chilean Spanish. There's just something about it that is so unique and they really make it their own. And like, I just love that. I eat it up. And the fact that people say it's a challenge, it makes me love it even more. I think that accents from Chile and the Dominican Republic and places like that get kind of that rap of, oh, they're so challenging. Oh, they're so hard. But I sometimes wonder if it's because we're just not that used to them. If it's because there's not as much resources. I mean, we get so many resources from Spain, from Mexico, from Colombia, and then a lot of us from the United States, we're used to those types of accents. So they're not really that difficult. But whenever you think about it, the more you get exposed to something, the more it just kind of makes sense, right? So even if you're not that interested in Chilean Spanish, I would recommend that you at least get your ear used to it because it is a type of Spanish. And in my opinion, as somebody who's learning Spanish, I want to be able to understand everybody, right? Not just a select few. Now, personally, I think Chilean Spanish is extremely cool. It's extremely special, but I'm a little bit biased. My partner is Chilean and I live in Chile, so I'm very used to it and I love it a lot. But I will say whenever I first got started in learning Spanish and wanting to find a lot of Chilean Spanish resources, it was very difficult. So I wanted to make this little guide for anybody who is like me and is just kind of like, where do I begin? And I'm going to be making this guide in terms of beginner, intermediate, and advanced, just to kind of help people know which resources to go to depending on what level you are at. However, I will say, no matter where you are at, and I know this is controversial, not everybody agrees with this, but no matter where you are at, I would recommend not being scared to listen to some native content here and there just to get your ear used to it, right? A lot of people like comprehensible input because they're like, well, as a baby, this is how I learn. So facts, but part of that was also listening to how people spoke. Not everybody around you was constantly speaking to you like you're a baby, right? Not everybody was constantly speaking to you so clearly and slowly. So I would say don't shy away from it. Not that you need to put it in a part of your hours, not even that you need to do it for more than 5 minutes. Just kind of get your ear used to what it sounds like. I think for me that has helped me so much because even in intermediate, I was able to tap into a lot of native content. I was able to speak with native speakers without them having to be so slow for me. Obviously, that wasn't always perfect, but I do think I kind of give myself a head start by just getting used to the way Spanish sounds in an everyday life. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of turned here because of my iPad. That's like, I'm going to be able to pay attention to all my notes. But beginning with beginner Spanish. These are all beginner friendly, but obviously if you are at a higher level, you could also dabble in some of these. I don't think there's any harm in that at all. I do it myself. But of course, I have to shout out Spanish with Josie as number one. She is the only, as far as this video is made and as far as I know at this time, the only Chilean tutor or teacher who is doing comprehensible input on YouTube or any platform that I know of, genuinely. So I fully recommend her. She's extremely beginner friendly, but she does videos of all different levels. It's something I really appreciate about her is that she also makes sure to bring her culture into it. You do get to see a lot about Chile. You get to see around. She does a lot of those types of vlog videos. And yeah, so you get to learn not only the accent of Chile, but you get to learn more about the culture, which is also very important, of course. Another one that I would suggest is CNTV Infantil. This one is a lot of like baby shows and like shows for like toddlers and like little kids, but I really recommend it. If you can do Peppa Pig, you can do this. And I like it because it's truly some insight into Chile. Like some of the shows do have to do with Chilean culture. And then of course you are listening to the accent and getting used to the words that they use and things like that as well. And then as for podcasts, there is Slow Chilean Spanish and Chilean Spanish for Beginners. Now both of these podcasts like aren't updated anymore and there's like 6 episodes each. And I'm pretty sure she goes in between Spanish and English, so if that's not your thing, I would not rec, but if you're not opposed to that, then I would rec. Personally, I didn't really use these a lot because I did not find out about them until after I was way beyond the beginner stage and they're kind of a little bit too slow for me. But if you are in those very beginner stages and you are interested in Chilean Spanish, I would recommend. Also, I don't know if y'all noticed like how hot it is. Like, how was this winter? But no, like I literally have like a summer glow right now. Anyways, okay, moving on to intermediate resources. We have two podcasts. Podcast LE, which I love. I really adore this podcast for two reasons. Of course, first of all, the host is Chilean, but also he does interviews and collabs with teachers from all over Latin America, which I adore. I think it's so important. Like I said earlier, I think that there is a lot of resources that we get from very specific countries, and then it leaves the other countries kind of behind. And those are the countries that like, no, I want to know more about you. Like, let me, like, how do you guys speak? Like, what is your culture? Like, I want to know more. And so I adore this podcast because he literally has episodes with people from all over. So if that's something that's also interesting to you, I really do recommend it. And then the second podcast I recommend is Español, Casi, Perfecto. This one is a lot of fun. She is very Chilean. However, she's very easy to understand. But at the same time, of course, but she uses a lot of like the Chilean slangs and things like that. So I would definitely recommend this one if you are more intermediate and are interested in hearing more of a Chilean accent. She also does not speak any English in this one. It is strictly Spanish, so it's good for your input time for sure. And then I do want to rec Tomás from Dreaming Spanish. I love Tomás. He's very Chilean. He does intermediate and advanced. So I genuinely don't think he's that bad in the intermediate. I've not done his advanced videos yet. However, I don't find his intermediate ones to genuinely be that bad. It's just one of those things. The more your ear gets used to the way Chileans speak, it's not as difficult as it once seemed. So I feel that way with Tomás. If you are a Dreaming Spanish user, I recommend taking advantage of his videos because they're already on there. And then last but not least, we have the advanced. So for advanced, like I said earlier, I would still recommend these to basically anybody, even if you are not there yet, just to get your ear used to it. There's no harm in that, at least in my opinion. I don't know. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to rec Canal 13, which is very, very, very popular here in Chile. It's just like their main, I don't even know if you call it main channel. I don't know the proper way to put it, but it's very popular here. A lot of the popular shows, like Chilean shows, come on that channel, and they have so many free episodes of like anything. So like you could find like basically anything that you want to watch. Of course, it is going to be native, so it is way more advanced. Two shows that I would rec. These are cartoons, and like they're so classic, but I love them because like they're just so Chilean. I find them so funny. So two cartoons I would recommend that you can find on Canal 13 on YouTube are Los Pulentos y Via Dulce. I find these to be very, very funny, and I would recommend them. They are, like I said, very, very Chilean. You will get a lot of the, different Chilean words, different Chilean slangs, and things like that. A podcast that I really enjoy is El Amor de mi vida. Now, this one is very advanced. However, I listened to like an episode of it, and I understood like maybe 60 to 70%. And I was like 200 hours less than where I'm at now. So it's not terrible, but like I said, if you're not used to Chilean Spanish, it might seem very intimidating. Do not worry. The more you listen to it, the more you get used to it. Another one that I would recommend, this is a podcast, but you can find it on YouTube, called The Aya Show. Y'all, whenever I can understand them, that's when I've made it. That is when I have made it, because they are so beyond me. And it's like every 5 seconds they're bursting into laughter. I'm like, I want to laugh too. I want to laugh too, you guys. I want to laugh. So yeah, that one it definitely seems fun, but I cannot tell you a lot about it because it is beyond my level. If this one really is, but I do like to watch a few minutes of it every single time they have a new episode out. So on the subject of YouTubers, I'm going to give you some YouTubers that I really enjoy. Now, I will preface this by saying a lot of them are like cozy, like let's like read, like cutesy types of vloggers. So if that's not really your style, this may not be for you. However, it's mine. So if we're vibing, if we're like on the same wavelength on this, you might like them a lot. And genuinely, I don't find them that difficult to understand. Some are more difficult than others. However, overall, I would say they're accessible. Okay, so number one, I want to say Paula Suru. She's probably my number one out of everybody. She's super, super cute. I love her content so much. It's so cozy. It's so like vibey. It's like Animal Crossing and like drawing, and like I love it so much. Another one I'm going to rec is Carla Martinez, who is more like books. Fran, Cherry Infusion, and Alecarina Madrid. Those are all some that I would recommend. And yeah, one other YouTuber I will recommend. This is another YouTuber who's beyond me. It's a YouTuber who does like reaction videos, I guess, of like older Chilean TV shows. So you kind of get like a little bit about there because you get to see like some like older like Chilean things, but then like also like get like the Chilean speech. But I will say he's very beyond me. I don't really understand a lot of what he says. His name is Críticas QLS. So that is very different. Like he's like more funny. Like he's like a lot more like funny, like comedian type. So if that's your thing, I would check that out, or at least you could just see, kind of get your feet wet into what Chilean Spanish sounds like. And then there's also Netflix. However, I will say the Netflix selection of Chilean content is very, very, very dry. So you could check it out, but I will say there's not a lot. You'll get a lot more out of everything else that I have shared with you today. But of course, Netflix is still a resource, so you could look on there as well. And then yeah, that's basically all I have for you today. Of course, there's italki, there's Preply, hellotalk, tandem, places where you can go and meet people from Chile and do language exchange and things like that. Or there's a lot of teachers on italki and Preply from Chile. And so they do offer you to learn the different ways Chileans speak, as well as just teaching you Spanish in general alongside that. So if that's something you're interested in, I would recommend that as well. And yeah, that is basically it. I'm going to have everything listed below as well. And if you have any resources, any Chilean resources that I did not mention, please go ahead and put them in the comments so that we can share it with everybody. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This one was really exciting for me because I'm very passionate about, I don't know, sharing those accents that maybe are not as easy to access within the Spanish-speaking world. Because I find them to be so important and so beautiful. Like all of my favorite ones are like the ones everybody are like, oh, this is so hard, like Caribbean Spanish, Chilean Spanish. I love them. And so yeah, I'm really excited about this, but thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. Bye.